Hello YouTube, this is Andre from the Swell Dudes Fish Tanks, and it's been a while since I did an update, and that's because I've been really busy. We moved, this is a new house, so we moved all the fish tanks. We moved in at the end of September in 2019. It's now like February 2020, so that's a lot of months without posting a video, and that's because this room was always messy, still is messy, and I'm always in between projects. There's really not many excuses to not filming because it doesn't take that long, and it's very valuable to document how my hobby is progressing. I've been looking back at old videos, and it's a good trip down memory lane. So I'm gonna start making videos regularly again. Here's the 90 gallon. I got a few new, quite a few new plants at the Aquatic Experience 2019. I have the names of them written down somewhere. I don't know. I know that right there is willow moss. Got some cool tissue culture plants which have been doing pretty well. I don't know what that plant is. I moved that plant, Crenum calamostratum, from the 40 long into the 90, so now it has its own place, kind of, to grow large. I'm still in the process of rebalancing this aquarium because this is a big aquarium, and I couldn't move it without taking out the substrate. It's a 90, but it's braceless, and because of that, it has thick glass. That's like, I don't know how thick that is. That's at least a ½ inch, maybe 3/4 inch. I don't know. Let's measure it right now. ½ inch. So it's big. It weighs a lot more than a regular 90. So we took out all the substrate, the Eco Complete and the dirt separate, and inevitably the fluorite mixed with the Eco Complete. So, I don't really care that much. You can't care about things like that. Rainbows are doing fine, well. A couple of them died, unfortunately. I'm down to 2 Herbert axelrodi, 3 Bosemani, and 2 turquoise. Wait, what? I thought there were 3. I must have 2 turquoise rainbow fish now. Unless there's one hiding behind the plants somewhere. I still have like 6 neon tetras. I want to add like another 20 so that they become visible, because they're just hanging around in the plants down there. I'm still trying to, so since I've messed up the substrate, I've still been trying to get that balance. It was balanced before we moved. It was really well balanced, but now I haven't been able to rebalance it yet. It still needs semi-frequent water changes. I change half the water every 1 or 2 weeks. I'm trying to make it low maintenance again. But I'm really liking these stem plants. I forget the name of it. Wait, it might be Rotala indica. I'm not sure though. I really have no clue. I have the name tag it came with somewhere. But it's a really cool stem plant. You trim it, replant it like most other stem plants. I'm loving it. It just got up to this high, and I trimmed it like last week. So in another couple of weeks, it's gonna get this high again. Then I'm gonna start filling up some other tanks with it. Really love the plant. It's a nice red color, especially with all the fertilizers I'm doing. Here's the fertilizers I'm doing. Potassium sulfate, micronutrients, iron, cobalt, molybdenum, manganese, stuff like that. Monopotassium phosphate, potassium nitrate. Yeah, so that's really cool. That's also a new plant. Also forgot what that's called. Yeah, I bought that plant and that plant from Dustin's fish tanks, and because he was cool, he also threw in a third plant, and that's red jungle val. It's in the back there. You can't really see it, and it's not really red because I haven't been dosing this tank, and it's not really getting a lot of access to sunlight. But I'll make it red. I would feed the fish right now, but I want to have them hungry for when the guests show up later, so I can feed them for the guests. They like that. See, everyone likes watching them jump. You put the food in, then they're jumping all over the place. So, I guess today I'm just gonna do an update on this tank, and I'll just do all the other tanks I'm working on. There's so many cool things in here, but I want to keep it somewhat organized. I don't want to just put everything in one video because I can't. They'll be like 2 hours long. But I have a few really cool new projects. Alright, so is there anything else for this tank? See a neon tetra down there under the crypts. Yeah, that's just crypt 1 Deadeye. There's like a more reddish one that I got from Pet Supplies Plus. Oh, that's a plate I left in there from like doing a water change. I just rested the thing on the plate so that it doesn't penetrate the substrate. And that was 3 months ago. If I zoom in on it, you'll see it's covered in algae. I forgot about that. Yeah. There's an interesting microorganism living in the substrate. I don't know if I talked about, like, it's been there since, like, I set the tank up. I guess it came in with the dirt. I use this dirt right over here. That. So, probably not. Oh, wait. Is that it? No, that's not it. That? Yeah, that's it. It's terrible. You can't see it at all. So, I looked at it under my microscope, and it appears to be a one-celled organism. That's all I could figure out. I don't really know. I might show it to my the biology teacher I used to have. Maybe he'll know it. Probably some sort of protist. But it's pretty cool. I'm sure the fish eat them when I don't feed them for a couple of days. There's a lone swordtail that I didn't bother trying to catch. I had a few swordtails left when we moved, but I took the opportunity to rid myself of most of them when we got here. But for some reason, I left that one. and I killed most of my swordtails off because they were becoming inbred. I bought like three of them, and then I got 100 out of those three, and then those started breeding. So I had to, I just killed most of them off. I kept a few of the best ones, and I went to the store and bought a couple of new ones to add some new genes to the gene pool, so they're not as inbred. But I like that red orange color. It's pretty cool. These rainbows are really nice. I think they would be a more. I think they'd have a more brilliant coloration if the lights weren't. Oh yeah, so the lights. That's the old light I had on here. Two bulbs. That's the light I used to have on that tank. You notice that it's getting blasted with sunlight, so it doesn't need a tank because that would make almost zero impact. And I like the look of just the clear lids on top, polycarbonate lids, and the pothos going over it, and just being empty with the nothing on top of that. I really like that. So, yeah, but now this tank has three T5, 4 foot T5 bulbs. Really cool. No matter how much I trim that, what's it called? Come on, Tiger Lotus. It literally, it sends, it's, so last week I trimmed it. The next day I wake up in the morning and this is right here. It sent it up overnight, a new lily. That's how crazy this plant is. And I attribute that to the fact that it has a large root system. I don't know if you'll be able to see that. Nah. But there's a lot of roots down there. And the fertilizers in the water column, the nutrients. So, yeah. I don't like the fact that there's a bunch of plants encroaching on this plant space on the oh my god. Crenum calamostratum. I want to give it at least 6 inches of just clear space on like a circle with the radius 6 inches around it, so that no plants are interfering with its growth. Because like when some plants contact each other, they both stunt each other's growth. Well, different species. Forget what that's called. Same thing with corals. But I don't have any saltwater tanks yet, and I'm not gonna have any saltwater tanks until like I have my own house, because that's expensive and difficult. You see what I'm talking about when I say I'm trying to balance it. I have all sorts of algae, especially on the Crenum calamostratum at the top. And it's strange that it's diatom algae, because I haven't had that since like I've never had that in this tank. I had that in that tank back when I set it up for the first time like 3 years ago or 4 years ago, but I've never had it in this tank. And like I've never had it in any of my other tanks. So that's strange. I've always had like green algae, but for some reason there's diatom algae now. Maybe it's because of the specific fertilizers I'm adding, but I have been adding those same four, fertilizers, well, three fertilizers, and then that mix of micronutrients to that tank. So I don't know. So I'm trying to balance it again, and I'm thinking about getting these guys some females. But if I do that, I have to go all in. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them in there, so I have to get probably 10 females for them to be happy. I'm not sure if I want to do that. I'm thinking, because 10 more that's more than doubling the amount in there, and that might make them cramped and actually lead to more aggression. Also, they're expensive. They're like $10 each. So like 10 of them, that's $100. And I have more demanding projects at the moment, which I'll start talking about in the next video.